What's good, my people? It's your boy Godfrey coming at you from Sober Take Boxing, and today we're going to talk about Moses Itauma against Dillian Whyte post-fight review. Sunday, it's a Sunday afternoon right now at the moment. I'm actually waiting to watch Arsenal versus United. I'm a United fan, so looking forward to that. But yeah, I think I am. I don't know how I'm feeling right now. I think shocked. I was taken back, really, to be honest with you. As many have seen some of my prediction video, so I actually predicted for Dillian Whyte to beat him, to beat Moses. I actually felt that it was maybe a bit too soon for him. I highly rate Moses Itauma. I think, as I said, I think he's a fantastic fighter. But just going back in boxing history, there's been fighters that get thrown in way too early, like the likes of David Haye and Lomachenko, even Canelo. They get thrown in way too early in their careers against high-level operators and it ends up not going their way. And I just felt with heavyweight boxing, all it takes is one punch, and Dillian Whyte carries a lot of power in both hands. And I really believe Dillian Whyte was actually up for this fight. I think, there's been a lot of conversation around his camp and, how good their camp has been. The physical condition he was in shows that he was really working hard. And I thought, you know what, Dillian Whyte's going to go in there and he's really going to give it his all. There's been a lot of interviews from Buddy McGirt saying, look, if he lost this fight, it's over. And I don't know if that put too much pressure on his shoulders. Maybe he felt that there's probably more pressure on him than Moses. Initially, I actually believed that there's probably more pressure on Moses to perform because of all the hype that's about him, right? There's been so much hype about how he's the next Mike Tyson, he's the future. And I was disappointed, to be honest with you. I've seen several interviews going around about people believe Dillian Whyte has something wrong with his legs, but I don't know, man. I don't think there was anything wrong with him. I don't know. He just looked so dejected and defeated, and I felt like, to me, the way I looked at Dillian Whyte, someone who I've really enjoyed watching as a fan of heavyweight boxing and a fan of Dillian Whyte as well, was I've always seen him as a gladiator. Someone who just goes in and just wants to have a war, regardless of who he fights. And I felt that to yesterday even, I don't want to be harsh, but the way it came across was that he looked scared, like terrified, almost very terrified. I never thought I would even say anything like that with Dillian Whyte, to be honest with you. From the ring walk, it's a bit strange, to be honest, because he didn't do the wolf whistle. He looks almost feeling sorry for himself. I don't know what's going on, and that's the thing is, even when you do these predictions, you're trying to assess people, it's hard. There's only so much right, about what they're going through mentally and physically and so on. And people think, what Dillian Whyte is done physically, like his chin is not there and so on. And to be honest, this may surprise a lot of people. I don't actually think it was his physical condition or chin that actually let him down. I've started to realize that I believe anyway that Dillian Whyte is an overthinker. I think he's mentally defeated, And I would lean more towards that. Why I would say it's probably best for him to hang up the gloves. I think he's had a really good career. Not taking anything away from him, being a massive fan of Dillian Whyte. But he just looked mentally defeated. And as much as he's stated throughout several different interviews how he doesn't really care about what people say about him, I don't think that's the case. I think he really was invested in what other people were saying about him and how long he's going to last in the ring. And I think he really took that to heart, and it almost came to the point where it's like, what if I do get out in the first 2-3 rounds? And it's almost like he was trying to prove the fans wrong. And I just don't think his mind was even like thinking about what he's even been doing in camp. It reminds me of people who sometimes do so good in training, like in football. I used to play football back in the day, and it reminds me of those who, some people really turn up for training, and then when it's match day, they just freeze. And it came across like that with Dillian, where he just came across like he's just mentally done. And we know about boxing. Boxing is a mental game. I think more of a mental game than it is a physical one. And because of all the hype about Moses Itauma knocking everybody out, how good he is, and then everybody writing him off, I think he started to really believe that I could get knocked out in the first couple of rounds. He's going to start fast, and I don't think I'm even good enough. He just looked scared. I thought he's going to come in. The reason why he's light, it's not because he's trying to beat him with pace, because we all know Dillian Whyte is nowhere near as fast as Moses Itauma. But I think he was just going to pick up the pace. You know, with that weight loss, maybe he will have more stamina. There's been a lot of conversations how he's been doing a lot of road work. So I thought, you know what, he's going to be fit enough to be able to fight at a higher pace, to put Moses on the back foot, make him uncomfortable, get on his chest, smother his work, being a bit dirty here and there. But he literally came into the ring flat-footed, slow, and maybe threw 2 or 3 jabs within that fight. And I think what I was really disappointed by, I don't know whether it was part of the game plan or what, or whether if that's just a mistake that he's made, but he just stood in front of him and almost just became a punching bag. It was like Moses Itauma favourite range is mid-range, and guess what Dillian Whyte did? He stood mid-range and literally just said, just hit me. Like that's how it came across. And I don't know, everything was just really strange. Even with his defense as well, he was too jittery. You know, Moses will throw it and he's just bending low, and I said even in my last video, my prediction video, that one of his weaknesses is that he bends really low, and the way he bends is almost quite, I wouldn't even say like I don't think even amateurs really do that. I think it's it comes across, it's like, I remember when I first started to do boxing, you know, when someone throws a shot at you, you almost like close your eyes and trying to get out of the way and think it's going to help. And then all of a sudden you open up your eyes, and then the next minute you get hit in the face. And then it's a bigger impact. So though people are saying, oh, you know what, he's just too chinny, I think he puts himself in a position where the brain responds and shuts down. Because it's like he bends down, don't know where his opponent is or where the punch is coming from. At the moment he's back up, he gets hit, and then he's on the floor. And that works really against him. Like, he was too jittery. And what I couldn't understand was, to fight someone like Moses Itauma, you have to be defensively sound. And I understand it's easy said than done. I get it. And we know how good Moses Itauma is offensively. Like, look, what Moses done, what he did last night, I wasn't really surprised because I know how good he is offensively. Like, we were all more or less expecting he's going to start really fast. Like I said, he's going to start really quick. But I was hoping to have for Dillian Whyte to be a bit more defensively sound, in the sense where using his experience. Like, he felt, for all the feints, it was just so like jittery. And for someone who has really long arms, Dillian Whyte has really long arms, and he's used a high guard throughout his career, and they've been very effective. He didn't do that. He didn't, stood firm with his legs wide and used a high guard to press forward, get out of range here and there. He just stood right in front of him, and Moses picked him off. And I think Moses was surprised. I think he wasn't expecting for the mistakes to come so quickly in terms of what they've been working in camp, because obviously Ben Davidson, Lee Wiley boxing, as I said, I highly rate those two. I love Lee Wiley boxing. I've been watching his channels for years. And I was just surprised that there was just mistakes in the first 60 seconds of the fight. And yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think we will have to wait and see what's next for Dillian Whyte. I think, does he want to... I don't think he's going to retire, because I don't think he would like to retire that way. But it begs the question of, would Turkey get him in a good fight with that performance? Because, like, as a fan, you're going to feel robbed. Like, you paid, and then the first 60 seconds, like, the fight ends. It's going to feel very painful for a fan, for those who came in and were really invested in the fight, and to only last one round. I don't know how, like, that, it doesn't matter how good a 20-year-old is, to last one round as an experienced fighter. And don't get me wrong, I think Dillian Whyte has been inactive, to be honest with you. He's been inactive, and that played a key part. I do think that played a key part. Like, a lot of things were off. And I don't think he's ever fought a southpaw in his career, to be honest with you. I don't think he ever fought a southpaw. So maybe that really threw him off. And as good as Moses is, that's probably what really troubled him. But I just wasn't expecting him to just respond to Moses's offense the way he did. Like, there was no work from him. But let's see. Anyway, hope to catch up with you soon. And yeah, I guess we'll see what's next. Take care. Boom.